Imagine going back in time and having to be in a mental institution for 10 days. Do you think you could handle the bad treatment given to you by the staff, or will you crack for having to eat moldy and slightly uncooked food? These are just some of the conditions Nellie Bly had to face when exposing mental institutions. Throughout her days, she revolutionized mental institutions to make them a safer and cleaner place while also fighting for women's rights. I believe she was a hard worker and very dedicated towards her job. We will be looking over her childhood and her work life, as long as her death and lifetime achievements. To begin, Nellie Bly was born May 5, 1864 in Cochrane Mills, Pennsylvania. Her father was Michael and her mom was Mary Jane. They were happily married and had 5 kids together, until suddenly, in 1870, when she was only 6 years old, her father died. He left no will, so they had no money or his estate. Later, when Nellie was only 18 years old, she discovered an article written in Pittsburgh Dispatch. In an autobiography written by editors of biography.com, they stated that writer Irma Wilson claimed that working women were a monstrosity and that they should only belonged in the kitchen and they could only clean. This infuriated Nellie, and she wrote a rebuttal back to the Pittsburgh Dispatch. This caught the eye of George Madden, who then later offered her a spot working for their job. This started off her career, and next we will be looking at how she made a name for herself and some of her famous work. Back in this day, females never used their actual name when writing articles, so this is when her pen name Nellie Bly came to be. She had some works, but was often restricted to women articles and columns. She later left for New York in 1887 due to her wanting to work for both women and men's problems. She was later discovered by Joseph P. and started working for New York World. This is when her first famous article came to be. It was in her earlier stage of writing. He wanted her to go undercover in a mental institution to expose what the patients were enduring at Black Island's mental institution. They decided she would stay there for 10 days, and to act the part, she stayed up very late for many nights to make herself look tired and worn out and then acted crazy until she was ordered in court and claimed to be insane. When she was there, she discovered it was a lot worse than she thought. She was given old and bland foods, sometimes vermin-infested. She was abused by the staff, and then she later discovered some were not even mentally ill, they were just physically ill from the horrible conditions. In her book, 10 Days in a Madhouse, published in 1888, she states how patients had to choke down fresh fish just boiled in water, and even the most insane refused to swallow the food. And if they did not eat it, they were threatened by punishment. This revolutionized institutions and sparked an interest in the U.S. Later, investigators came to the institution, but by this time they were tipped off and cleaned it up. Even though they got a nice little tour, they still sided with Bly and decided to do something about it. This later made them fund institutions, making them a safer and putting more restrictions on staff to make sure they treated the patients well. Later, she became an international star and was given many fame. In 1888, she decided to travel around the world just to beat a record from a character in a novel called 80 Days Around the World. Throughout this, she wrote about her experiences through the many countries. She traveled in many different ways and vehicles. And by the end, she traveled around the world in 7 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. This sparked a world record for her in international stardom. Sadly, all good things come to an end, so lastly, we are going to look at her death and recognitions. Later, she retired and married Robert Seaman, who she later helped with his manufacturing job. Soon after, he randomly died, and she decided that she would work for the manufacturing herself. Not knowing what she was doing and not having enough financial aid, it later closed down. Then she eventually had to go back to writing due to financial needs. After 2 years of writing, she died on January 27, 1922, of pneumonia. Throughout her life, she has done many great things, and it shows through her recognitions. She was later, in 1988, put in the National Women's Hall of Fame. Many people have written shows and movies about her and involved her in many other things. Some of her most famous ones were in a season of American Horror Story. The main character, Lana Winters, was based off of Nellie Bly's. Another one was a Lifetime movie called Escaping Madhouse, the Nellie Bly story. Throughout her years, she amazed and impressed many people. I still believe she is a hard worker and had great dedication towards her job. Today we looked over her work life, childhood, and lifetime achievements. I truly believe she went through extreme situations and hard times just to show that she can be something in this world. I think she did a great thing and helped many great people. She also loves what she does and sets a great example that women can do anything if they put their heart and dedication to it. Thank you.